Hello and welcome to this video on using deadwood and driftwood for bonsai. Deadwood and driftwood are used in bonsai for tanuki. These are otherwise known as phoenix graft bonsai. Tanuki use a piece of deadwood and graft a living bonsai to this. This artificially creates a bonsai with the illusion of great age. The wood you use for this is important as it is the basis of these styles. Once your tree outgrows this driftwood, you'll either need to replace it or completely remove it, and that has an interesting success rate. Because of that, the selection and maintenance of driftwood you are choosing is very important. This will be all the more important when you start to carve and modify the wood for aesthetic purposes. The first consideration is to get your hands on a piece of solid wood. Try to avoid softwoods such as pine. These will rot away even with maintenance. Hardwood such as oak is good as it resists water and other processes that will break down the wood over time. So long as you can find a suitable piece of hardwood in your area, it will work, but to be clear, even when preserved, softwood will not survive very long, so avoid it if you can. Now that you've chosen a suitable piece of driftwood, let's look at how to process the driftwood before using it. Some people will take flame to this and burn it. This will not only destroy the top layer of living cambium, but will also dry the wood out. You then leave it to continue drying out for about a year, and it should, at that point, be good to go. This is, however, a rather aggressive approach and can have other problems. In terms of what happens to the wood, if it cracks, do you need to carefully maintain the torch and do you have the skill for that? This is one reason why we don't suggest that option. The next option is to find driftwood that has already been aged out in a forest or somewhere similar. You will need to take some steps with this, but they'll apply to any wood you try and age yourself. The first option is to apply lime sulfur. This is the go-to option in bonsai. What it does initially is stain the wood a yellowish colour. It then turns somewhat white as it dries and bleaches the timber. It's also useful in that it can kill off certain pests and molds, but they're less of a problem if you maintain the wood itself. The downside to this is that you need to apply it yearly to maintain the appearance. Another option, although one that we advise against since it can create other complications, but it does have a place in how you use it, is wood preservatives. These can be used, especially on deciduous trees where you can get a stain incorporated into it. This stain will change the colour, and in certain species, the white look of lime sulfur will be so out of place that it makes no sense to use it. This is an application where wood preservatives have a use. At the same time, you do need to be a bit careful in what you're using as it can possibly cause harm to the tree and have other issues with the soil. So take care not to use your favourite bonsai for this when initially investigating it. The last noteworthy element to choosing a piece of driftwood is if you want to make it yourself, you need to be very, very sure about the species it's coming from. This goes beyond the scope of hardwood versus softwood, but instead, the species itself can be an issue. Some species will produce hormones, chemicals, and toxins that can leach out of the wood as it is rehydrated when you water the bonsai. For example, pine bark is known for its ability to acidify soil over time. Other species can have similar effects, and you should carefully consider this before using those for driftwood. If you have, however, for example, found something washed up on the ocean, chances are you also need to rinse this to remove as much of the salt content from the salt water as you possibly can. It's best to soak these bits of wood for a very long time, let them dry out, and then use them. If you aren't as confident about the source and identity of the timber, take care with it as it can cause unexpected and undesirable complications. Thank you for watching this video. If you have found it interesting, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please post any comments, questions, or suggestions that you have below.